Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to live almost 1,000 years? Imagine having enough time to uncover every secret in nature, to gather endless wisdom, and to personally witness centuries of history unfolding. This idea may sound like fantasy or a futuristic story, but it was actually the reality of the earliest people, created directly by God himself. Adam lived for 930 years. Methuselah reached an unbelievable age of 969. A whole society thrived under lifespans that today seem far too long to be real, almost beyond belief. But everything changed. A major shift in humanity's journey is recorded in Genesis 6:3, where we come across one of Scripture's most puzzling and thought-provoking statements. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not remain with humans forever, because they are mortal." Their lifespan will now be 120 years. What made God choose to make such a drastic change? What caused the creator of the universe to, in a sense, reset the human design? Today, we'll uncover the mystery behind this divine decision, one that reshaped human destiny and the way we think about life itself. When we picture Adam, we might imagine a man from the distant past, possibly unskilled or childlike, just beginning to learn about the world around him. But the Bible presents a very different image. He was crafted directly by God's hands, with a flawless mind and mental abilities far beyond the greatest minds in history. Adam wasn't some cave dweller. He was the world's first scholar, the origin of understanding that reached across generations. In the 930 years he lived, he had plenty of time to explore, organize, and grasp creation in ways we simply can't in our short lives. The Bible tells us that God brought every animal to Adam so he could give each one a name. In Hebrew tradition, naming wasn't just about choosing a word. It meant truly grasping the creature's inner nature, its true qualities and purpose. In this sense, Adam was performing the first study of biology, recognizing patterns, sorting species, and revealing the deep design God placed in living things. Each animal, each tree, each event in nature was like a page from a book that Adam could read with his brilliant mind. His understanding grew even more during the very first biological procedure ever described, when Eve was formed from one of his ribs. As soon as he saw her, he declared, "She is part of my own bone and flesh." This wasn't just a poetic phrase. It was a powerful moment of awareness about biology, reproduction, and the amazing process of human life. No scientist today has ever witnessed such a miracle with their own eyes. Over hundreds of years, Adam passed down this incredible insight to his children and grandchildren. He lived long enough to see 8 generations born, teaching them about the secrets of long life, nature's rules, and the spiritual laws that God had set for humanity. Speaking with him would have been like reading the blueprint of the universe. His knowledge spread through his family, building a base of understanding and innovation that no modern era could match. When Adam finally passed away at 930, it wasn't just the end of a person. It was the loss of an entire world of wisdom. Even so, the knowledge Adam shared didn't disappear. It kept growing, passed on to his children and their children, shaping a world that reached heights even God had to take notice of. But if Adam was so wise, what went wrong with the generations after him? How did their understanding evolve to a point where it once again drew the Creator's attention? Imagine living in a world where you weren't considered young until age 200, and elders lived far past 1,000. Every person was like a living encyclopedia, filled with centuries of insights, inventions, and life experience. This was the era before the Great Flood, a time between Adam and Noah, when humanity lived incredibly long lives. It was not a simple or underdeveloped society, but a golden period of learning, science, and progress, possibly beyond anything we've seen since. Think about these remarkable lifespans. Adam lived 930 years, Seth lived 912, Enosh 905, Kenan 910, Mahalalel 895, Jared 962, Enoch 365 before God took him, Methuselah 969, Lamech 777, and Noah lived 950 years. Many of these people were alive at the same time. Imagine the conversations, the teachings, and the shared insights among minds with hundreds of years of accumulated thought. These patriarchs were like living data centers, able to process, store, and share information in ways we can hardly imagine. Their knowledge didn't just grow, it exploded. Adam taught Seth what he had learned. Seth expanded it and taught Enosh, who deepened it and passed it to Kenan. Each new generation did more than just repeat the past. They added to it, experimented, and created new ideas. In only a few hundred years, their society may have reached a level of science and invention that would take modern humans thousands of years to develop. The Bible gives small glimpses into how advanced they were. In Genesis 4, we read that Cain's descendants built cities, invented musical instruments, and worked with bronze and iron. But that's likely just the beginning. With hundreds of years to refine their knowledge, those early engineers and creators probably developed skills that would impress even today's top scientists. Building cities involved much more than laying stones. It likely included thoughtful design, water systems, complex structures, and organized communities. Still, despite these achievements, a serious problem began to grow within this highly advanced society. The same long life and knowledge that allowed good to flourish also gave time for evil to grow. Corrupt people had centuries to improve their harmful ways, pass down dark teachings, and lead others away from God. What was meant to be a gift became a danger to the Creator's plan. And among all those ancient figures, one man stands out, not just because he lived a long time, but because his very existence carried a powerful meaning. His life served as a message about humanity's future. Of all the people from this time, Methuselah remains one of the most intriguing. He lived 969 years, the longest life ever recorded. His story, more than just about age, holds deep symbolic importance about what was coming next for the world. But Methuselah wasn't just famous for living longer than anyone else. His life was actually a sign, a divine signal marking the countdown to the most catastrophic event Earth would ever face. His name, when translated from Hebrew, carries a meaning that not many people realize. Methuselah's entire life was a prophecy in human form. He lived nearly 1,000 years, and his death would signal the arrival of something that could no longer be delayed. His father was Enoch, the man known for his close relationship with God, who was taken from earth without ever dying. So, when Enoch named his son, it wasn't just a random choice. He was passing along a divine message about humanity's future. God had revealed to Enoch that judgment was coming, but not immediately. There would be a long season of mercy, a period where God would wait patiently, and that time would be measured by the life of Methuselah. Every single year Methuselah lived was another year of grace, a fresh chance for humanity to return to its Creator. It was like God had started a 969-year timer, a final window for change and redemption. For hundreds of years, Methuselah walked among the people as a living sign. Everyone who knew the meaning of his name also knew what it pointed to. Judgment was on its way. Just imagine what it must have felt like to live near someone whose name literally meant, "When he dies, it will happen." Each day that Methuselah woke up was a reminder of God's mercy. Every birthday he celebrated was another opportunity for the world to shift its path. But sadly, humanity ignored those chances. Rather than turning back to God, that ancient civilization sank even deeper into evil and chaos. Genesis 6:5 shows us just how bad it got. The Lord saw how widespread human evil had become, and how every thought people had was only evil, all the time. God's mercy, though great, wasn't limitless. And that mercy was directly tied to the number of days Methuselah had on earth. When those days finally ran out, the moment of reckoning could no longer be postponed. And that moment came. In the year 1656 from creation, Methuselah passed away at the age of 969, and in that exact same year, as his name had warned for nearly a millennium, floodwaters covered the earth. It wasn't a random event. It was the exact realization of a divine promise spoken long before. Methuselah's death marked the closing of the age of grace. The countdown had finally expired. Before leaving this world, Methuselah completed one last mission. He handed over the enormous knowledge he had gathered over his long life to his grandson Noah. That wisdom would prepare Noah for the most important assignment ever given to a man, the building of the ark and the survival of the human race. But this leads us to a deeper question. Why did God find it necessary not only to punish that generation, but also to alter the human lifespan itself? What kind of danger had become so serious that it demanded such a dramatic change in human nature? When God spoke in Genesis 6:3 and declared that people would no longer live beyond 120 years, it wasn't just a new age limit. It was as if God rewrote the very blueprint of human life, a powerful reset of our potential. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment action or a careless choice. It was a deliberate and universal safeguard meant to stop humanity from reaching a level of knowledge and influence that could rival its maker. What had originally been a divine gift, long life and endless learning, was becoming a dangerous tool in the wrong hands. That's what God had to stop before it went too far. Living for centuries had turned into a double-edged weapon. It allowed good to grow, but it also gave enough time for evil to fully develop inside a single person. Think about how dangerous that is. A modern dictator can cause immense harm in just a few decades. Now imagine a tyrant from before the flood with hundreds of years to perfect strategies of control, fear, and destruction. Wickedness didn't just grow, it evolved. It became smarter, more subtle, infecting families and entire cultures like a quiet but deadly disease. Evil leaders had centuries to build kingdoms of darkness, spreading influence and moral decay across generations. What was once a blessing became a breeding ground for deep corruption. And it wasn't only moral failure, it was full-scale rebellion against God. The world before the flood had advanced to such a high level of technology and understanding that it began to disturb the natural balance itself. With hundreds of years to test and experiment, people may have created tools or systems that touched the very foundations of creation. They had knowledge without respect, discovery without conscience, and inventions with no sense of right or wrong. Many began to view themselves as equal to, or even above, the God who had made them. It was the same prideful mistake that Adam and Eve made, but multiplied across generations. This is why limiting human lifespan to 120 years wasn't just about punishment, it was a defensive act. By reducing the number of years a person could live, God removed the time needed to carry out widespread corruption. He stopped individuals from gaining too much control or power. It was like installing a divine protection system into the heart of mankind. Now, each generation would have to rebuild knowledge almost from the beginning. With shorter lives, there would be less time to construct harmful empires or ideologies. Still, this reprogramming didn't happen overnight. It was a slow and carefully managed process that unfolded after the flood. Noah still lived a long life, 950 years, but each generation after him lived fewer and fewer years. Lifespans dropped little by little as God gently adjusted the new human design, seeking the right balance. Enough time to learn and grow, but not so much that evil could spread without limits. This shift reminded humanity that long life was never guaranteed. It was a sacred gift, not something owed. But how did this transformation actually work on a biological level? And what were the long-term effects on the people who came afterward? The flood wasn't only a judgment from God. It was the most important biological reset in the story of mankind. After the floodwaters finally disappeared and Noah stepped onto solid ground, he brought more than just his family with him. He carried the reset code for a fresh human race. God had introduced what we might compare to a divine program, steadily shortening human lives on purpose, setting the stage for a new chapter in history. Noah lived an incredible 950 years, yet with every new generation, human lifespans were gradually trimmed down. It was as if God was carefully adjusting the settings of life itself for the world that was now beginning. His children and grandchildren experienced shorter and shorter lives, following a steady and precise pattern as though a heavenly calculation was guiding the life length of each person. Noah, 950 years. Shem, 600 years. Arphaxad, 438 years. Shelah, 433 years. Eber, 464 years. Peleg, 239 years. Reu, 239 years. Serug, 230 years. Nahor, 148 years. Terah, 205 years. Abraham, 175 years. This wasn't just random. It followed a sequence, a deliberate shortening that showed God was carefully reshaping humanity through their very genes. Every generation saw life get a little shorter, like a divine clock being set to the exact timing needed for God's plan to move forward. This transformation of human life had real meaning. It wasn't just a symbol. It helped God's plan for saving the world to move faster, speeding up the timeline for the promised Savior to arrive. It also acted like a filter. With shorter lives, the evil and brokenness carried from before the flood had less chance to spread deeply. Each generation got a fresh chance to do better. It was as if God restarted the system, installing a safer, more stable version of mankind. In addition, this change in how long people lived also shifted how power worked in families and society. Before the flood, one man could live long enough to influence many generations at once. But now, with lifespans reduced, that kind of control faded. This made it harder for corrupt rulers or dangerous leaders to create powerful, long-lasting dynasties. What may be most remarkable about this genetic reset is how it prepared the path for the arrival of the Messiah. The intentional shortening of human lifespan shaped a specific timeline, aligning every generation with the ancient promises about Christ. It was as though humanity's clock had been adjusted to make sure each part of God's plan would unfold right on time. The faster pace of life allowed the promises made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to develop according to schedule, building a line that would lead to the birth of God's Son. But this divine setup goes even further. There's a hidden system, a kind of numerical pattern embedded within the family line of the Messiah. The list of names in Matthew chapter 1 isn't just a list of ancestors. Every name, every father-son link seems to follow a divine order, showing a silent but perfect design behind each generation. This quiet guidance was leading everything to the exact moment when salvation would enter the world. When Matthew arranged Jesus' family line into 3 groups of 14 generations, first from Abraham to David, then from David to the exile, and finally from the exile to Jesus, He wasn't just making it easier to remember. This structure reveals a deeper pattern that confirms Jesus as the promised Messiah. The number 14 wasn't picked randomly. In the Hebrew alphabet, the name David adds up to 14, connecting the entire list to Israel's most famous king. So each generation doesn't just tell a story. It holds spiritual and symbolic value too, but the pattern doesn't stop there. Those three groups of 14 add up to 42, a number full of divine meaning. The number 3 often represents perfection in Scripture, and when multiplied by David's number, it produces 42, a total that also appears in prophetic visions as a symbol of God's appointed times. Despite war, disease, exile, and chaos, this bloodline stayed intact. From a human perspective, it seems impossible that a single family line could last for 2,000 years with its records still in place. But with God guiding it, the line survived. Even more fascinating are the names Matthew chose to leave out. 4 kings from Judah, Ahaziah, Joash, Amaziah, and Jehoiakim, were not included. This wasn't a mistake. It was intentional, part of God's careful plan. Their families were tied to curses and corruption through the house of Ahab and the influence of Athaliah, Jezebel's daughter. To keep the messianic line clean, God removed their names from the list. This was like divine editing of the family tree, showing God's authority over genetics and heritage. Even during the Babylonian exile, when most families lost their identities, David's line remained. Through all those years of captivity, the family history leading to Joseph and Mary stayed alive, another clear sign of God's direction and design. This wasn't just about human effort. It's as though God kept a perfect heavenly copy of the most important records in history. What's truly amazing about this divine pattern is how it connects to the 120-year lifespan that God set for people. By shortening life in a planned and steady way, God created the ideal pace for the 42 generations to come exactly when they needed to, fulfilling prophecy right on time. If people had lived for 900 years, there would have been too few generations. If they lived only 30 or 40 years, there would have been too many. But by choosing a lifespan between 70 and 120 years, God fine-tuned the rhythm of human history, perfectly setting the stage for Christ's arrival. This timeline is not just something interesting from the past. It shows us that decisions made by God thousands of years ago still echo in our lives now. Every detail of His plan is both carefully crafted and never-ending. The shortening of human life wasn't just a punishment, it was a divine plan, carefully made to protect us from destruction and to help His rescue plan move faster. From Adam, who first walked in God's creation, to the pre-flood people who gained dangerous knowledge, from Methuselah, who lived 969 years as a sign of something coming, to the reset that came after the flood, everything happened for a reason. It all pointed forward to the arrival of Jesus. His family tree proves that His birth wasn't random. It was part of a long and careful plan where every generation, every child, and every decision had a purpose leading to salvation. Today, under the 120-year limit God set long ago, your life is a valuable and limited chance to live out the purpose He gave you. Every day is a gift from above. Every year is an opportunity to walk in step with the story God is writing. The same wisdom that shortened lifespans to protect humanity also gave us the perfect amount of time to know God, believe in Jesus, and leave behind a legacy that matters. Your life, though not as long as those before the flood, is exactly the right length to complete the mission God planned for you from the beginning of time. The 120-year limit isn't a punishment, it's a tool of grace, designed so you can know God, experience His love, and live out your calling. Each morning you wake up is a gift from heaven. Each year is another chance to walk in line with the eternal plan God designed just for you. The same hand that protected humanity through the reset also chose the exact time you would be born. Right now, in this generation, in this moment of salvation, if this message touched your heart and helped you see God's love more clearly, show it by liking this video. That way, more people will hear this truth. God bless you, and until next time.